So, as we said, we're talking about being a vegetarian and eating and trying to lose weight. So really quickly, let's run through it so that you don't get bored and you know what we're actually talking about. So first things first is understand it's not just the calorie deficit that you need to be understanding things like insulin, hormone responses. It's not a huge thing, it's very easy to understand, I'm going to go through it, but this is the main area over here, not calorie deficit, that people are struggling with when it comes to losing weight. Yes, keeping a calorie deficit is good, but you're not burning fat because you may be snacking all the time and you're not telling your brain, your body, your hormone system what you want it to do, which is burn fat. So how do you do that? Here's a couple of free tips and quick tips. First things first, let's go from the top down and around. Is the problems that you may be having are as you're snacking up to 10 times a day. When I say snacking 10 times a day, it's not a fulfill bar here there. I mean like grabbing something and physically putting it in your mouth. Whether it's one biscuit, whether it's a couple of nuts here and there, is trying to understand that that is telling your brain that you're trying to store fat. What I mean by that is every time you put something in and you're putting something in consistently, you're telling your body that you need this in and you need to store it as fat because sooner or later down the line, we're not going to get food, we're going into hibernation mode. Think of it as a really basic concept. Put food in, you're constantly putting food in, you're telling your body to do one thing, okay? So that's key to remember. So that brings us on to wrong foods as well, snacking on the wrong foods too, snacking on fruit, juices and different things like that, which will spike your glucose. What that does, if we move over to insulin area, this purple area, you want to keep glucose low. That in return keeps insulin low, okay? As long as you have high glucose levels, you're putting food into your body, you release insulin to help with digestion. That also helps with trying to store that food as fat. So if you want fat burning, you want to keep glucose low and you also want to keep your insulin low. Moving on is what you want to do is because you're not eating so many sources of protein, you want to think about you're going to have a higher fat content in your diet than you would carbohydrates as well, because carbohydrates are something that you're not getting a huge value from when it's stored as muscle glycogen, but there's only so much muscle glycogen that you can have, so therefore you need to go towards fattier foods. Look up things like the ketogenic diet, that's something that's an example that's high in fats and people are still losing weight on. However, understanding what types of foods, like fattier foods like olives, avocados, chia seeds, pecans, coconut oil, coconut meat, mushrooms, other types of seeds, chickpeas are good, hummus is fine. But also in there, throw in some pea and hemp protein. You can get that supplement from iHerb.com. Sun Warrior is some of the best stuff I've come across. The chocolate flavor is gorgeous. Tastes a little dusty, but it's actually quite refreshing. So that's the good area. Moving over to here, foods to avoid like fruits, grains, blah, 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 all that stuff, berries, potatoes. You're trying to avoid them, especially at snacking time. Have them in your main meals, but during snacks time, you want to be thinking more on this side. Moving on to this funny little diagram, breakfast, lunch, dinner. These gaps are hunger levels. These gaps is your pit of your stomach being a little bit fuller. You want these gaps. During these gaps, you want to be a little bit hungrier. The reason for that is that you're a little bit hungrier, so you're telling your body a message. You're telling your body that you want it to burn fat. So that's why it's important not to be snacking all the time, okay? If you're really struggling during that time, is you want to have your fattier foods or fattier snacks, and also you might have your coffee in between there. That's just fine. A little bit of coconut oil in as well. You get bulletproof coffee. Just have some coconut meat on the side or something, or some pecan nuts. But within these gaps, you're telling your body what you want it to do. I'm hungry now. I need some fuel. Will you please give me some fuel? No, you're not. Then I'm going to go to fat storage and then start burning that fat from around your stomach. It's very straightforward what you need to do as a vegetarian or a vegan. If you're not going to eat as much protein, make sure you prioritize your protein count, get enough protein, but if you're not doing that, is understand that you need these levels, and snacking throughout the day is not going to work. If you want more advice, make sure you jump over now to the information that we're talking about on our charity nutrition seminar, and this is where we're talking about all this stuff with our members, and let's jump over and get a little more information.